If you're over 40, you're going to the gym, you're not seeing results. Maybe you walk in, you go into the weight room, you are aimlessly wandering about, copying workouts that you've saved on Instagram, or maybe some workouts that you found on Pinterest. And all the time when you go in, you're just sort of doing things that make no sense, no rhyme or reason. There's no plan, there's no strategy. We are going to uncover whether or not you're focusing on the wrong things and what you should be focusing on if your goal is physique change. Let's take a step back. For those of you that are new here, my name is Diane Flores. I've been in the health and fitness space for over 17 years. I'm an IFBB bodybuilding pro, which also makes me a professional dieter. And I'm a personal trainer, I'm a health coach, and I have been tracking macros and calories for a very long time. I've been 200 pounds. I have professionally dieted my whole professional bodybuilding life. I've gained weight, I've lost weight, I've been shredded, I have been obsessive, I've hated my body, I now love my body. I've had unhealthy eating behaviors and everything in between. We're going to talk about the key things that you might be focusing on when you get into the gym that are actually detrimental to your physique change results. So I'm going to tackle quite a few in this episode. I'm going to tell you what not to do, what to focus on instead. And at the end of the video, stay tuned because I'm going to have an opportunity for you to join myself and also a bunch of badass bitches in a community where you can find your fitness bitches. All right, let's dive in. Okay, first mistake that I see in women who are trying to change the shape of their body, they're really getting in the gym, hoping for some physique change, is that when they get into the gym, their main focus is how many calories is this workout going to burn? Now, when you are in the process of developing your physique, of putting on some nice, sexy, lean muscle and really trying to reshape your body, that is going to be the bottom of your concerns. That should be the least of your concerns. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, Diane, easy for you to say, but I have 50 pounds to lose or 100 pounds to lose. And while I understand that that might seem like an overwhelming undertaking in terms of getting into the gym and trying to drop body fat, but also keep some definition and some tone along the process, trust me when I say you want your diet and your nutrition to be the dial mover for your fat loss versus getting into the gym and how many calories can this workout burn. Now, by the nature of the activity, cardiovascular workouts, you know, your Orange Theory classes, your spin classes, all of those high intensity cardio style classes that leave you sweaty and breathless, they are going to burn more calories. This does not mean that they are superior for you in terms of physique change. Now, they're a great addition. They're great for health and longevity benefits. There's also some, really great crossover in terms of helping you with your actual strength training when it comes to recovery in between your sets. However, this is not your priority. Your priority is not how many calories should I burn or how many calories can I burn in this workout so I burn fat. With your physique training, with your strength training, your weight training, you will burn less calories in that isolated moment. But your body change does not happen in a vacuum. It is not happening exclusively within that hour training session. Same thing for your cardio session, right? I'm sure some of you have heard of post-exercise oxygen consumption, or EPOC. I'm probably rearranging the words a little bit there. That is going to be how efficient your body is at breaking down and burning calories after your exercise. Now, when you do cardio, that is restricted generally to that isolated workout, right? You go in and you do the stair mill, or you run, or you do the elliptical, and you burn 400 calories in, 35 minutes, hypothetically speaking. Once that workout is over, you will see a little bit of continued calorie burn because of the nature of your heart rate being elevated for a short period of time after your workout. Now, when it comes to training, This is a different story. You're going to train, maybe you only burn 300 calories in your weight training session, and you might think, this is useless. I'm going to burn more calories in my cardio session. But what people fail to understand is that muscle tissue is more metabolically sexy. And that basically means that the more muscle tissue you have, the more calories you are going to burn at rest. So just for this simple fact of me sitting here recording this podcast and having more muscle tissue than maybe somebody my age, somebody else who's 46, who prioritizes things like Orange Theory classes or running a marathon, something of that nature, I'm going to burn more calories because I have more expensive tissue on my body, which means I have more muscle. And it's going to require more demands of your body to keep it on your frame. And so therefore, when it comes to what to prioritize in the gym, I want you to stop prioritizing your cardio and glorifying it so much because of the calorie burn, and indeed start to shift your focus into your weight training. The next mistake that I see when women are in the gym and they are trying to achieve physique change is that they are either pushing way too much weight or they're not pushing enough weight to actually make change. Now, either one of these can be detrimental to your results. So we got to find that bitch Goldilocks, all right? The Goldilocks zone is where it's at. You have to find the sweet spot between ego lifting and thinking, I need to keep adding more, and also, I'm just going to stick to this weight because this is what I always do, and I'm going to stick to this rep range because it's what's on the plan, and really trying to understand the term progressive overload and not getting fixated on just adhering to strictly increasing the weight regardless of your form and potential, issues with injuries, and or just sticking to what is on the program, right? This is where a little bit of self-regulation comes into play, and it is very challenging at first when you're new. And so I see a lot of women spin their wheels because they just think like, well, I'm in the gym and I'm doing the thing and this is what's supposed to be working. So instead of doing that, instead of guessing, and my favorite term is like throwing spaghetti at the wall and like, let's just do this thing and hopefully it's going to work. What I want you to do is follow a structured program. Now, I know this might just crush some of y'all's soul a little bit because you like to just kind of be a free bird and walk into the gym and let's see what equipment is available and I'm just going to do whatever I feel like today. That's great. If your goal is I just want to move and I really am not here for physique change, then I'm not the channel for you. But if you are wanting to see the benefits of your weight training, you need to put a little bit more time and effort into the program that you are going to be executing once your ass walks into the gym. So what that looks like is you have to find a qualified professional who knows what they're doing when it comes to physique change. You want to look for a program that really works within hypertrophy ranges, which is going to be usually around that 8 to 15 rep range, which obviously you can build muscle and change your physique at lower rep ranges, but you are going to see the most bang for your buck in those hypertrophy ranges. Anything lower is generally strength, strength-based, think powerlifting, and anything more than 15 reps is going to be more towards endurance, right? This does not mean you burn more fat when you do 30 reps of a bicep curl. This is an old, flawed way of thinking. So follow a program. Don't get shiny object syndrome and thinking, oh, well, I did this program last week. I want to do something different this week. There is a method to the madness. There is a method to the reasoning behind following a structured program in a specific sequence with a specific amount of sets and reps, because in order for you to achieve physique change, it is incredibly important that you understand for a muscle to actually change, there needs to be enough stress put on it for it to readapt, right? For it to adapt, to grow, to change its structure, to change its shape. So with part of that then becomes needing to hit enough sets to elicit that response in your body. So if you're not doing enough sets, you're not doing enough reps, you're maybe getting in the gym once a week, wondering why things aren't changing, this is likely your problem. So following that program, making sure that it is tailored to the physique that you want to achieve, whatever you're wanting to work on, and getting in the gym, making sure you execute it. And every time you go back to that specific workout, your goal is to improve within that workout rather than switching it out, putting a bunch of new exercises in there, deciding to add 10 to 20 more reps onto each exercise. It's just getting better within the parameters of that program. Another mistake that I see is that women try to cram in as many exercises into their workout as they possibly can. So this is a problem that I feel like has been exacerbated by the group fitness classes that a lot of women are drawn to because one, it's a little less intimidating than meandering into the weight room. And two, there has been some strange rumor that has been circulating for way too long that we need to confuse our muscles, and therefore the general population has interpreted that as confusion needs to mean 30 different exercises changed every time you go to train. This is not what that is intended for. When we talk about confusing your muscles, this is the general population's way of explaining what should have been explained as progressive overload, not confusing your muscles. You can confuse your muscles using the same exact program for 6 weeks. For example, I have a Boss Bitch Booty program. It's a 6-week glute training program that I offer online. Now, those girls are going to follow the same training program for 6 weeks. Now, for some of you, you might be thinking, no, thank you. That is boring and monotonous. Well, if physique change is your goal, there needs to be structure. And in order to confuse your muscles, using my air quotes here, we are going to take that in the way of progressive overload, which basically means within those workouts that you have, that you're following for the next 6 weeks, your goal is not to add more exercises or change a bunch of variables within that program. Your goal is to, week upon week, either increase the weight that you are doing with each individual exercise. Maybe you slow down your tempos. That's another form of progressive overload. Basically, if you're doing a squat, for example, rather than just doing 3 sets of 12 with the same 135 pounds, maybe week 2, you're doing a tempo-based training that week where you're doing a 2-second tempo down, maybe a 1-second hold at the bottom and an explosive 1-second up, right? These are ways to hold your muscles under tension, create a different stimulus without throwing a bunch of exercises into your exercise soup and hope that one of them is the magic key ingredient that is going to then bring you into this physique that you're dying to achieve. So within that program, there are ways to make it a little bit more interesting, to challenge yourself and push your body to the next level without having to just have a laundry list of exercises. And this is a hard one for a lot of women, again, because of Gen Pop gym classes or boot camps that tote, 10 plus exercises each workout for 30 seconds and, 10-second rest or whatever. And we're not really focusing on good quality movements that actually are the big dial movers when it comes to really honing in on physique change. Another mistake I see is only working out the body parts that you enjoy. For example, I can go into any gym and walk into the weight room and I can immediately tell which men don't like training their legs. This is not to throw shade, but they look like upside down Doritos. They basically just work on their vanity muscles and figure, well, I don't really wear shorts and what's the big deal, right? So they have these overdeveloped upper bodies and they have chicken legs. Now, women do the same thing, right? I see oftentimes where women are just like, I want abs, and they focus solely on doing ab workouts or core workouts. And while there is some merit to training your core, that should not be your sole focus. If you are really wanting to change your physique and really reshape your body, whether that is you want bigger legs or you want bigger glutes or whatever your goal is, it is also incredibly important to create some balance so you don't actually incur injuries. And I like y'all a lot and I want you to be here for quite some time. And we need to train your body holistically as a well-rounded unit so that way you can grow old gracefully. That's why we're here. That's why we're in it, right? Yes, we want to look like sexy bad bitches, but we also want to look like sexy bad bitches and be able to get off the couch when we're, older and retired, or, make sure when you're stepping up and down off of a curb, you don't, that's not a challenge for you, or climbing a set of stairs, or lifting your suitcase over the overhead compartment in an airplane, right? It's functional movements like these that are also strengthened during your weight training, right? So these kinds of things will actually be a great way for you to notice how your strength training is actually paying off, is in your day-to-day life. So if you're noticing, when you go to do day-to-day activities that you find things challenging, this should be a check engine light for you and your meat suit that you need to focus on strengthening those muscles so that way your quality of life is also improved. It's not just your physique. While we're in it for the sexy body, you also got to be it for the sexy longevity. Another key mistake that I see is that, and this ties back into the first one that I talked about at the start of the video, is women prioritizing only sweaty workouts, right? Like, it's not a good workout unless I'm drenched in sweat. All my workouts have to be these highly intense, dripping in sweat, breathless, burning, almost puking, laying on the floor, making sweat angels workouts. I'm going to tell you something. When I started my bodybuilding journey, I thought it was really bizarre because I barely sweat. I remember telling my trainer at the time, like, I don't know, is this weight training thing, like, are you sure this is working? Now, granted, I was not working on my nutrition whatsoever. I was living on Michelob Ultra Light beers, as well as turkey sandwiches, and usually probably a frozen burrito for dinner. Like, that was probably the bulk of my nutrition. Didn't know anything about nutrition and how important it was in the role for fat loss and body recomposition, really just changing my physique. So I would go in for these sessions and I would always joke that the trophies that I won, I didn't have an ounce of sweat. Now, it's not entirely true. We had to mix in some cardio at some point while I was in my contest prep, but most of my weight training sessions, I am not covered in buckets of sweat. Now, it's not because I'm not a sweater, okay? Because I have some clients that they're sweaters, right? Like, as soon as they start moving, it is like instant glow. Now, I'm probably in the middle. I'm the Goldilocks bitch, okay? I don't get drenched and I'm not going to be dry. I'm in the middle. Now, with my weight training sessions, I'm not going to visibly notice that I'm working hard, but I can feel that shit, okay? I'm in a leg press, I'm under some hip thrust, whatever. I am physically taxed by the time I'm done with a set. And I can notice that by my muscles are burning. My breathing has now become more labored, but I am not tapping into my cardiovascular energy system as much as I am tapping into my muscular system. And so by nature of that, you might not sweat as much as you do when you do a cardio workout. But that does not mean your weight training sessions are not effective. You have to stay consistent with that and understand that just because you're not dripping buckets of sweat does not mean that it wasn't a great workout. I can think of a couple clients off the top of my head that I would train at 5 a.m.s and they would come in and they would really use how much they were sweating as a marker as to whether or not my workouts were good. And I had to quickly educate them on the fact that this is not it's like apples and oranges when you are comparing cardio and strength training. They should not even be in the same fruit basket of comparison when it comes to how effective your workouts are because of the sweat factor, because of the calorie burn factor. Okay. You're working with two different systems, and you can't compare them that way. It's not fair to do that, and you'll get frustrated. Okay. Another key issue that I see is going to be one around diet. Most of the time, most women are not consuming enough protein in order to really see the changes that they want with their physique. This is a problem we see incessantly when we have new clients onboarding for our nutrition coaching programs. They're getting, I would say on average, between 60 and 80 grams of protein a day. And when you really are trying to focus on not only, getting stronger in the gym, your strength training, but your physique change, you have to move that up on the top of the list in terms of your nutrition as far as what to prioritize. Now, protein can get a little bit overwhelming, right? There are so many different schools of thought out there. How much protein should I be eating? The conversation can go on and on and on. And I'm sure I have exhaustive podcasts talking about protein because this is a topic that is a hot one and will probably continue to be for as long as I'm in the fitness industry. So when it comes to your strength training, if you are getting in the gym and you're getting in the weight room and you're lifting and you're not seeing results and you're not really paying much mind to your nutrition, that is where you need to start, because oftentimes you're going to see a lack of results due to your nutrition. Listen, your training can probably be subpar, and I hate that I'm even going to say that. It could be subpar. Let's say your form isn't the greatest. That you probably don't push yourself enough in the gym. Maybe you don't really have structure to your training program, but you get in the gym. You're there 3 days a week. You're lifting with weights. You're training, maybe 40 to 60 minutes each session. All right. Pretty mediocre, pretty average. If your diet is trash and you're not focusing on that protein, you are going to struggle. You're going to plateau. You're going to think it's not working. You're going to eventually get frustrated and quit and probably run over to Orange Theory or the next boot camp that's saying you're going to lose 20 pounds in 12 weeks. I know because I have been that person. And I didn't really think diet was a big deal. In fact, I ignored it for way too long. I liked the exercise piece of things, and I always thought in my head that the exercise, there was some magic to the exercise. There was some magic program. There was some magic arrangement of exercises or reps or sets. And if I just followed those, I would get the physique I wanted, which is not the case. It was the diet that was the dial mover for the fat loss, for me to actually see what I was working on and creating underneath the body fat. So prioritize that protein, focus on every meal, every snack, pre-workout, post-workout, anything you put in your face hole should be prioritized with what is the protein I'm eating along with these carbs, this fat, whatever your meal is going to look like. So prioritize that protein. This will make a huge change in not only what your body tends to look like with your weight training, but also with your recovery. How you feel, how strong you feel, how much weight can you push in the gym. This will also help there. There are also a lot of other factors, but this is definitely one of the biggest that is the easiest to tackle right away. And to piggyback on that is women who are constantly dieting. Now, you might be thinking, well, Diane, I need to lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds, and I need to be dieting until I lose all of those pounds. No, sister. That's not what we do here, KK. That is an old school way of thinking. That, my friends, is going to set you up for failure because it is very likely that it is unsustainable for you to be able to trudge through and lose 50 pounds without having a diet break, going back to maintenance, taking time with diet cycling, and really being smart about how you work your nutrition around your goals. We have clients all the time, or women that reach out to me and they're like, well, I can't start weight training until I lose weight. What the actual fuck? No. No, 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 no. But for reals, that is an oxymoron. That's like saying, I can't go to the dentist until my teeth are fixed. No, that's not how this works. Weight training a lot of times is perceived as something that you do once you lose a certain amount of weight, and then you go weight train to create tone or definition. Flawed way of thinking, ass backwards. You will be 10 times ahead of the game if you start weight training now and start working on your nutrition simultaneously. I would advise, and I usually advise people against doing something like a 12-week transformation program if they have no experience in the gym or working out, and also they have no experience with focusing on their nutrition. I oftentimes am like, don't do everything, okay? You might be excited and jazzed up, and listen, I offer a 12-week transformation program. I'm not telling you not to do it unless you have some key foundations in place. Now, there are some special unicorns where they are very driven by an overwhelming goal of such nature, and they are like the all-in people, right? And they're going to do it because they want to prove something to themselves generally, right? We do see that too, but it's very, very rare. So what I would say is if you have what feels like an overwhelming amount of body fat to lose or weight to lose, do not wait to start weight training until you lose enough weight, because that's not how it works, okay? You want to start this process now. I'm going to tell you why. When you are new to weight training, you are a unicorn. You are a unicorn in a different way, because you have the opportunity to achieve what is called in our meathead industry as newbie gains. And what that means is your first year to 2 years that you're weight training, you are going to see the most progression in your physique, in your strength, and in your progress than those of us who have been doing it for eternity. All right. Like, I'm as old as dust. It's a lot harder for me to make small changes in my physique because I've been doing it for so long. So my body's adapted. And so naturally I have to do different things. I have to try different stimulus. I have to push a little bit harder. So when you are very new and green, this is your time. This is your time. Get in the gym, start training. Do not worry about what everybody in the weight room is thinking because you're overweight and you're in the weight room. Nobody gives a shit. I'm going to tell you that right now. Nobody cares. You care way more than anyone around that gym cares. I promise you. And you'll thank me later. Okay. Another issue is women think that we can spot reduce. And this is like, oh, I'm going to do abs because I'm going to do more crunches because I want to see abs. That's not how it works. I'm going to work my whatever body part, insert body part here. It's going to get rid of my cellulite. It's going to get rid of my bat wings, right? No. While you can add muscle to those areas, yes. And when you drop body fat, those areas will appear more defined, more sculpted, more toned, more shapely. It is not just your efforts in training that one specific area that is going to improve it. It is a collective of multiple habits and modalities that are actually going to get you to see the results that you want. So if you are wanting to spot reduce and you think, well, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to just do core every day. I'm going to do crunches every day. When you drop your body fat low enough, sure, you'll be able to see your definition in your core. But it is only until then that that's likely going to happen. It is not going to happen by way of you doing crunches and still eating like a shitbag and thinking that your abs are going to miraculously appear. It doesn't happen that way. So get in the gym, train your body, make that a priority, make your strength training a priority, but also know that at the end, your efforts are only going to be visually seen by you when you actually take your body fat down low enough to see that said definition and tone in that specific body part. Okay, and to wrap up the last 2 points, stick around because the last one is probably the most important one of this entire freaking video. Yes, I'm going to gatekeep it for you because I'm going to get on my soapbox. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, boo-boo. Focusing on scale weight only. So if you go into the gym, you start strength training, and you realize this isn't working because you know what? The scale's not moving. I'm not dropping pounds as quickly as I would like. We see this happen all the time. Now, when you start weight training, this is a new stimulus for your body. If you have not done it, your body has to adapt. It has to, acclimate to what's going on. It is going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. And one thing that we see oftentimes when women come from a culture of group fitness classes, high cardio, and they move into weight training, which is a little bit more slow in terms of the execution. They aren't sweating as much. They're not burning as many calories. They're not seeing the visual representation by buckets of sweat. And then they get on the scale and they're like, okay, well, this confirms what I'm doing isn't working. Which leads me to the final thing, because these two go together, my friend, in terms of the biggest mistake that I see women make when they are trying to change their physique is that they have unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations, most definitely. Let me say it again. Unrealistic expectations. Kiss to your forehead. Because this is the tortoise route. This is building a body over time that you can have well into your years. But this is not a temporary fix. This is not a fad thing that I'm going to try and hopefully this is the answer, right? This is putting time in. It's like a savings account. It's like a high yield savings. Okay. It really actually is. It's a high yield savings account. Is every day that you get into the gym, every day that you focus on your strength training and progressive overload and making sure that your nutrition is in alignment with your goals and your body and you as a person, your circadian rhythm, like the things that you do, is when this becomes just part of your lifestyle. And it's not some temporary thing that you do and you go to the gym so you can try to burn a certain amount of calories because you're trying to, drop XYZ amount of pounds. Now, I'm not saying that's not an admirable goal, but what I'm saying is that, honey boo boo, sweet darling dear, you need to set realistic expectations. If it didn't take you 12 weeks to get into this unhappy place that you might be in with your physique, it is not going to just take you 12 weeks to get out of it. Okay. Likely when we are in a spot when we are unhappy with our physique, our body, our health, it is due to years of neglect, years of being a back burner bitch and taking care of everyone else, years of prioritizing other things in your life. And all of these things are okay. But what's not okay is when you start the program, you start taking care of yourself, and because the results aren't coming, you give up and you say it's not working. You got to put the time in. It is going to be a tortoise game, not a hare. And the sooner that you can realize that, the more that you will enjoy the journey, and it just then becomes a habit and not another temporary thing that you're signing up for. All right, I know I said that was it, but I have a bonus one for you. Okay, I can't resist this one, but I'm going to tell you, for those of you busy bitches who think when you get into the gym and you're like, I don't have very much time today, so I'm just going to do cardio. Stop that shit, okay? Mama D is telling you, stop that shit. If you only have 30 minutes in the gym, your ass better march into that weight room and decide which 2 or 3 exercises that are the biggest compound movements, right? The biggest meat and potatoes of your workout program for the day. And you're going to be efficient. You're going to stay off the TikTok. You're going to stay off the Instagram and the Facebooks. You're going to put your headphones in, put your shit on D&D, and you're going to do your weight training. Okay. You're not going to go over to the elliptical and bebop your little ponytail around and be like, ooh, I burned 400 calories. Woohoo. That's great. I was really effective with my 30 minutes. Stop that shit. Okay. That is putting your time into a regular old savings account. Go to the high yield. Okay. Get into the weight room and invest that 30 minutes in good quality movements and do them well and knock them out. And then let your diet do the other work when it comes to your fat loss goals. Okay. All right. I love you. Kisses to your forehead. I'm your girl. Hang out with me if you like this kind of shit. Hit subscribe and the little bell. I know it's somewhere around here for the notifications for when I drop a new video. I've got a lot of good ones coming. I am here for my YouTubers. All right. I'm here for the tubes. Let's build some community here. Ask questions, drop comments. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you on the next video.